So this is MikroTik router RB750 and it comes only with the adapter. I was expecting at least one patch cable, but there was only manual router and the adapter. And this is the 12 volt DC adapter. This MikroTik RB750 has 5 ports with 100 Mbps, and this is the second cheapest MikroTik router available on Amazon. So I think for $40 it's good enough for testing or making videos. So I'm going to test it for the first time, and luckily I found a patch cable in my house. In this version, the first port has the PoE, so that's why I'm using the second port to configure. If you're using MikroTik for the first time, so you need a software called Winbox. So for that, you need to go to mikrotik.com, and then under download section, you download the Winbox. Once the app is downloaded, you open that app, and under the neighbors you should be able to see a MAC address and an IP address. So by default there is a username that's admin, and there is no password for that. So once it shows this page where it's asking for the configuration to remove or keep the configuration, that means this router is fine. Right now I'm making this video from my phone, so let's jump to the computer screen and start the screen recorder, and I will teach you how to configure your MikroTik router and much more in this video. So let's go check out and configure our first MikroTik router. So first of all, I'm going to click on the neighbors, and here you can see it's showing me the MAC address, the IP address, the version, and this one seems to be a older version, and the router board is RB750R2. So I bought this one for making videos, well, definitely for you guys. So I'm just going to click on the MAC address and I will click on connect. There is no password required because it's a new one. This one looks pretty good because we got a lot of options here. These are not available in 520, the cracked version what we use on the PC just for the videos, but this one has more features, so I can make more videos. Okay, so first of all, let's upgrade the version. So this one is showing 6.48.6. So let's go to the system and click on router board. Here you can see it checked router board version R3, RB750, R2, the serial number and everything. So I'm just going to click on upgrade. And do you really want to upgrade the firmware? I'm going to click on yes. Firmware upgraded successfully. Please reboot for changes to take effect. Okay, so I'm going to do a reboot. Yes, I do want to reboot my router, and I'm gonna pause the video and I will come back. Alright, so our router is back up. Let's click on that one and see. It still shows the same version, so I think this one is the latest one. I'm not sure, but that's how you upgrade your router firmware. Alright, after upgrading the firmware, I'm going to upgrade the packages as well. So you're going to go back to the systems and click on packages, click on check for update. So here we can see what's new in this version, and the latest version which is available is for 6.49. so currently installed version is 6.48. I'm just going to click on download and install. Okay, so this one is downloading and it's going to reboot the router one more time, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so the router is back and all the packages are updated to 6.49. I just went on Google meanwhile to check what's the updated version on MikroTik. So it is showing me that it's 7.1, I guess. So I'm going to click on upgrade, and here I can see 7.12.1. So there are several things you need to check before upgrading. So there is first one called long term. So this is the most stable version what we have right now, the long term version, and there is one stable, if you see that one, the one we already have right now, and there is one for testing. If you click on this one, so that version is still being tested on the MikroTik development side, and the other one is development, that's under development. and the upgrade one is the latest one. So I'm going to click on upgrade, and I will click on download and install, and it's gonna take like a few minutes. Okay, so the router is back up, and you can see the version is 7.13. that's stable, and that's the date it was released. Okay, so let's access the MikroTik. So right now it's asking me to change the password. Now I'm just going to reset the configurations if there is any, because I want to configure this router as I want. So do you want to see the license? No. New password? No, I don't want to set any new password. Okay, we have to. New password, let's say 123. 123. Okay, password is changed, so I'm gonna go into system and reset configuration, confirm. Okay, so that is the command. You just type system and then press tab, and then you type reset and then press tab. It's gonna show you reset dash configuration, so that way you can reset your router board in soft option, like it's gonna be a soft reset. Okay, so it's gonna take a couple minutes, so I'm gonna pause the video and I'll come back in a few seconds. Okay, so the password is updated, and that's the first thing I think the new routers ask. If it's a new one, you have to update the password. Whenever you're configuring a new router, first of all you have to configure the WAN port so you can get the internet access. So there are several methods of getting your WAN connection ready. So first one is DHCP client. If your router is getting IP address from a DHCP server, then you configure DHCP client. Or if you're getting static IP, then you need to put in the static information, or there's third option, which is PPPoE, dial in. So we'll go step by step and one by one. Okay, so first of all, if you want to configure DHCP client on the MikroTik router, you just go to IP and then DHCP client, and you create a new one. So I wanna make Ether2 to work as WAN. Apply, and then okay, so now you can see it's configured, but it's not connected, so that's why it's not getting any IP address. Okay, let me connect the port and see if it's getting the IP address. Okay, the port is connected, searching. Okay, it says bound, and it's getting the IP address 10.0.0.138. So that was the first step. That's how you get IP address from DHCP client. It's so simple, so easy. You just need to click on this plus sign, and you can see all the details here in the status. You can see the IP address, the gateway, the DHCP address, and expires after what, and the DNS being used. You can see every information here. Okay, so the second way is to configure using the static IP address. For that, I'm just gonna go back to DHCP client, and I'm gonna disable this one. So there is no IP address coming from the DHCP server, right? It's the bridge IP address, the default one, and I'm not going to change this one for right now. Okay, so I'm going to configure a static IP address. For that, let me check 10.0.0.45. okay, I cannot ping this one, so that means I can use this IP address. So I'm gonna go to addresses, ether2, and I'm gonna type this address /24, and that's the network of my gateway router. And one thing I'm just going to change, so I'm gonna change Ether2 to be shown as WAN and others as LAN. Let's say Ether3 and Ether4 LAN 2 and Ether 5 is LAN 3. Okay, so that way I can remember. All right, let's close this one. So set up IP address, that's the first step, and the second step is to set up DNS, and the last step is to set up the gateway. Configuring your WAN with static IP is really uncommon, but in case if you get the static IP address from your ISP, then you need a static IP address, a DNS, and the gateway address. Okay, so we set the IP address, this thing. So now we're gonna go to IP DNS, and we're gonna set the DNS. So if you don't know the DNS address of your server, you can use the gateway address. Okay, so I'm gonna use the gateway address, and I will use another one that's going to be the Google DNS, and apply, and then okay. So let's try pinging something. Ping. Okay, so you can see the error, no route to host. What does that mean? There is no gateway setup already. Okay, so we are going to go to IP and then routes, and we will define here a static route. The destination address is whatever. You should use the gateway address, which is 10.0.0.1. As I click on apply and okay, here you will see we would be able to ping. Yeah, you can see we are able to ping this one. And if I type ping google.com, it's gonna show me the same thing, that we are able to ping that. So what if we forget setting the DNS? Let me remove these two. So I'm gonna ping this. You can see I can ping this thing, but what if I type ping google.com? So it's already resolved. Let me try pinging yahoo.com. So you can see invalid value of MAC address or blah blah blah. Why? Because there is no DNS set. So DNS uses the IP addresses against these names, so you have to set the DNS, otherwise it's not gonna understand the names of the hosts. You can just do ping any IP address but not their names. So as I set any DNS here, let's say just the Google one, and let me do the same thing again. You can see now I'm able to ping. Okay, so the third one is PPPoE dial in. For that you need to go to the PPP section, and here you need to click on this plus sign and make sure you click right here so you can see all these options, and you need to click on PPPoE client, this one right here, and you choose the interfaces, from what interface you're getting the connection from PPPoE, and then you click on dial out. You type in the username and the password, apply, and then okay. For right now I don't have any PPPoE server connected next to this router, so that's all you need to do. You don't need to change anything else. You just select the interfaces, and under dial out you just type the username and the password. Okay, so now we're going to configure the LAN. I mistakenly typed there WAN. Okay, so for LAN you can configure DHCP server for your LAN port. You can configure a static IP, and you can give out static IP to users. You can do a PPPoE server, you can do a hotspot server, and you can do a wireless access point. Okay, so let's go step by step and one by one. First one is the DHCP server. For that you make sure you have the IP address on your LAN interface. So I'm gonna say my Ether 3 is the LAN interface, and I want this IP address 192.168.30.1/24. I want this IP address. Okay, and now you can see the IP address is configured on Ether 3. And then I'm going to click on DHCP server, and I will create a new DHCP server. I can do it that way, but I always prefer using the DHCP setup wizard. That's the easiest one, because you just need to click next. So DHCP interface Ether 3, which is LAN, you just have to be focused what you're doing, because if I click on that one, it's gonna mess up my configuration. So click next. You can see the IP address it's showing. That's the same IP address we set in the IP addresses, and the gateway address is right, and this is the addresses to give out. So starting from 172.168.30.2, and it's ending on 254. I would say yes. And the DNS server, that's fine, and the lease time is 30 minutes. That's fine either. Okay, setup is completed. So you can see this one is created, and it's showing me red because there is no port connected to this one. Okay, so let's connect a port to this one. Okay, I connected my computer to this one, and let's check the IP address. So I'm gonna go to the adapter options and Ethernet, because it's connected with the cable. Boom, there you can see it's 172.168.30.254, the IP address what we configured on the MikroTik DHCP server. So that means our DHCP server is perfectly configured. Okay, so the second way is to configure static IP address on your side and give static IP address to your clients or your users. So for this, you just need to set up the IP address on your LAN port as we configured 172.16.30.1, and make sure there is nothing configured on that one, like DHCP server or any hotspot server. There should be nothing on that port. Okay, so after doing that, you are going to go to the firewall and then allow the internet access to those addresses. So you can just type the whole network as this /24, or you can specify the range of IP addresses what you want to allow internet access on, and under action you just need to click on masquerade, apply, and then okay. So now this network is allowed to use internet. The third way to configure your LAN is PPPoE server. For that, you need to go to PPPoE, and under PPPoE servers, you just click on the plus sign and set your service name, whatever service you want to set, and select the interface. In my case, I'm going to select Ether 3. That's going to be my PPPoE server, and I'm gonna change the timeout to 60, and I will just do the password authentication protocol and 1 session per host, apply, and then okay. And then the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a user for myself, and I'm gonna do the service that's PPPoE, but I'm gonna just leave it any and use the default profile, apply, and then okay. And let's see under the default profile. So here you can see you need to set the addresses. So for that, I'm gonna go to IP pool, and I will create another IP pool for PPPoE, and that's gonna be 192.168.30.1 sorry, from 30.2 to 192.168.30 dot let's say 54 or 24, because we don't need so many IPs. So you can set accordingly whatever you need. So we are gonna set remote address from the PPPoE IP pool. Okay, and the local address is going to be the gateway of your LAN address, which is 172.168.30.1. apply, and then okay. So the profile is configured and the secret is created. Let's see the password. It's same, Talha network and sharing center, and set up a new connection, set up a broadband dial. Yes, we wanna do the dial-up connection. You are already connected to the internet, but no, set up a new connection, broadband, yes. So what's the username? Talha, and the password is the same, and it's the MikroTik RB750 what I'm using for this one. Allow other people to use this connection? No. So it's connected, it's testing the connection. Let's try with the IP address, which is this one. Okay, we are able to connect, and let's go to the PPPoE active connection. So you can see my connection is active, and it's showing the address, which is 192.168.30.2, and I'm gonna go to the network connection. So this is the one with the PPPoE, and you can see the IP address. It's 192.168.10.30. So we are successfully able to connect a user from our PPPoE server. Okay, so the next way to configure your LAN is using the hotspot server. So you need to click on IP and then the hotspot. So there are two ways. You can click on add sign and create a new server, but I recommend using the hotspot setup. So I'm gonna use the Ether 3, next, and then it's gonna ask me 1721, is that the local address? Yes. Masquerade this network? Of course, yes. And then it's gonna create another pool for me that's going to be in the same range of that IP address, starting from 2 to 254. I would say next. If you have any SSL certificate, you can use that. I'm gonna say none because I don't have any SMTP server. I don't have any DNS, is the Google DNS, and this is going to be the address which is gonna be showing in your local browser. So I'm gonna use www.zsnetworks.net. Next, and you have to create one account to be connected with the hotspot server. So it's admin, and I'm gonna type the password admin. Next, it's created. So under the server, I'm just going to do the address pool from HS pool 3 to none, and apply, and then okay. That's all. And if you want to change the profile settings, you can do here. Like if you're using radius, you can use radius, and then I'm gonna change the from this one to HTTP chap pap mac, apply, and then okay. Now let's test the user. So I'm gonna pause the video and plug the cable to Ether 3. Okay, so as I plugged in the cable to Ether 3, it's showing me this address, and it automatically opened this page for me. That's the MikroTik hotspot login, and I'm disconnected from the Winbox because we changed the port. So let's try logging in with admin. You can see I'm logged in and I'm able to access the internet. So that process works fine as well. Okay, and the last way to configure your LAN is wireless access points. So for that, you need to go to the Wi-Fi section and then you click on the plus sign. So this router RB750 does not support the Wi-Fi, so that's why it's showing master unknown. But I can show you the configuration, how you can configure. So you need to go to the configuration section and mention here your SSID. Let's say MikroTik 750 RB. So that's gonna be your SSID, and then under security you set up the authentication type. I would prefer doing WPA2, and here you can set the password, and then you click on apply and then OK, and that's all you need. And you should be able to see your wireless connection over here. But as I told you, this router doesn't support any wireless connection, so that's why it's not showing up. And if even I click on OK, it's not gonna accept, because the configurations are not perfectly fine. There is no master port. But the routers who support the wireless feature, you should be able to see the WLAN under the masters, and you should be able to perfectly configure the Wi-Fi. So the next thing I'm going to show you is system and users. That's how you can create another user to log in to that MikroTik router. So you can create a new user, and there are three group types: full, read, and write. So the full mean it's going to be admin, read mean that user can only see the configuration, and write means that user can write the information, but there is going to be some restrictions, like you cannot create another user, or more we can see in the groups. And you can set up password here. Let's say I want to set the password for this one. I'm going to click on this one and click on the password, and then I can update my password here. And if you want to click on expire password, so it's going to expire the password and there would be no password. Okay, and then let's go to the groups. Here you can see all the permissions which you can allow to. If you want to create another group of security, you can allow stuff like local, telnet, SSH, FTP, reboot, read, write, policy, test, whatever you have. This one is the default one. And let's say if you want to create a new group, so we can select what we can allow to that group and what a user can do under that group in all these features. Okay, so if you want to set the bandwidth limit on your LAN configuration, so let's make a scenario. So under DHCP server, we have two DHCP servers. One is for IT department and one is for HR department. So what we're gonna do is to go to the addresses and see under Ether 3, you can see there is IP set, and under DHCP server configuration there is DHCP on Ether 3 as well, and there is another one on Ether 4, so we can rename it to DHCP 2 and apply and then OK. And let's see what pool this one is using. It's the default DHCP, and let's go and see the range under pool. So this is the one, and it's 192.168.88.10 to 88.254. so I'm gonna just minimize it to 10 to 254. Apply and then OK. And this one was for the Ether 3. Okay, so we are going to set the limits using the queues. So there are two methods. So first let's discuss the one with the interfaces. So I'm gonna tap interfaces limit, and the second one is going to be IP limits. So let's go first with the interface limit. So go to queues and create a new queue, and it's asking for the target. So I'm gonna select the target Ether 3, which I'm already connected to right now, and I can set the maximum and minimum limit. So it's saying bits per second. So I would define K or M. Let's say I'm gonna wanna do 5 megabit for upload and 5 megabits for download. Apply and then OK. So now I have set the bandwidth limitation. Let me disconnect the, you can see I'm connected with the network 5. That's the one with MikroTik. I can show you here under the hotspot users, IP hotspot users active. So you can see this user is active, and let me show you the IP address as well. 30.254 adapter options, and this is the one. You can see the IP address is the same one. So let's try doing a speed test. So I'm gonna use the same page where I was connected from, speedtest.net. I'm not sure it's gonna apply right away, or I have to disconnect and reconnect the user, but we can check with you. So I'm using Xfinity connection. Allow your location. Okay, allow. Yeah, it's already applied, so I am not able to go above 5 Mbps on download, and for upload this router has limited bandwidth. I'm not sure it's gonna go to 5 MB, or it's gonna stay under that. You can see upload speed is not good here at my side, but still it's trying to reach 5 Mbps. Okay, so I'm gonna stay on this page. I'm gonna go back to queues, and I'm gonna disable this queue, and I'm gonna try again just to show you guys how much speed I actually get. So close this one and go try again. So when there is no limit, you can see my connection is around 100 Mbps, so it's going to 90, 89 somewhere. But when I set the queues limit, it was not going above 5 Mbps. So that's the first method. You can do the bandwidth limit using the interface limit, and there is another one using the IP limits. So I'm gonna enable this one again, and I will change something here from this to this one. I'm gonna delete, and I'm gonna select the IP range. So IP pool, and this is the IP range. So I'm gonna copy this all, copy, and then I'm gonna paste the addresses here. But this one is saying you need to set, okay, so yeah, let's do that way, 30.0, because it's only accepting the network addresses. So we can check the network address under addresses, and this is our network address, 30.0, and apply, and then okay. And I'm gonna go again to speed test, and let's see how this one goes. Yeah, you can see still it's working perfectly, and you can see the color of the queue right here. It's red because it's using all the bandwidth. But as I close this page, you can see it's green, right? And the time it starts, it gets yellow. Okay, so the last thing of this video is going to be the MikroTik security. So there are 3 things I mentioned here: update the admin password, and disable not used services, and change the ports. So first of all, what I recommend when you're first configuring your MikroTik router, make sure you update your user admin password, or if you want to change or disable this one and create another user, so that's another way to, like, you can create another user and give it full access. So that's going to be another admin account, and change the username as well. So under password, I mentioned here, make sure it has special characters, capital numbers, capital letters and numbers. Let's say something like this, MikroTik. So you can see it has capital letters, and then I'm gonna say, let's say 4043256, and then some special characters like hash, exclamation mark, @ your password should be something like this. So these are the most secure passwords. Okay, and the second thing is disable unused services. So for password, you go to system, and under user you click on your admin account, click on password, and you update your password here. I forgot to mention everything in the start. So the second thing I mentioned, IP and services. You can see there are so many services which I'm not sure you guys are using or not, but if you guys know that you guys are not using API or API SSL, FTP, SSH, Telnet, if you guys are not using those services, just click on disable. Like I'm not using Telnet, I'm gonna disable this one. I'm not using this, I'm not using this. So I'm just disabling the services what I'm not using, but I'm gonna use the www. So that's the you can say the web winbox, the webfig configuration version of MikroTik, and this the winbox port. Okay, so that way you can secure your MikroTik router, that you disable all the unknown services what you're not using. And the third and the last thing is to change the port numbers. So as you can see, this one is configured on 80, so you can change this one to let's say like 80, 90 or something like that, and this one to whatever you want, like 9564. So that way, and if anybody is trying to hack your MikroTik router, he won't be able to, because that's a different port and he's not gonna know. You are the only one who know what port you set for this one. And the last thing I want to add in this video, that is how to hard reset your MikroTik router. So I'm going to use this pin. Let me unplug all the cables. Okay, so you need to do is to unplug your MikroTik power and press this reset button right here, this one, like this, and keep it pressed, and then plug in your power cable, and then keep it pressed. Once you see all the lights are flashing, then you stop pressing the pin, and it's gonna take like 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, so the light blinked, and I'm gonna okay, so this one is now hard reset, and let's try this thing. So I'm showing you the monitor here. So I'm plugging this cable to Ether 2, and you can see I have set the login admin and set up the password. So once it's powered on, it's gonna show under the neighbors. Okay, so now you can see it's showing up in the neighbors, and let's connect this one. So you can see it's showing me the error because now it's hard reset. And one thing you have to see, these lights, not those lights. When these lights are flashing, that means your router is hard reset. Okay, so let's say you have a scenario like me. Like right now I'm doing this DHCP client thing, and I have this IP address 10.0.0.138, and that's the private IP address from another router. So if I want to access this MikroTik router from any other city or any other country, so that IP address is not accessible over there. So for that, MikroTik give us option for dynamic DNS, and that's only available for the MikroTik router boards. That's not available for MikroTik OS. So all you need to go to IP and then click on cloud, and here you can see our public IP address. That's my public IP address, but still I cannot access using this IP address. So I need to enable this DDNS, apply, and then it's gonna show me this DNS name, so I can use this DNS name to access my MikroTik router. So currently I'm connected with the local network, so I'm gonna go to my mobile screen and I will switch from Wi-Fi to another network that's gonna be my data network, and I will try using this name, and I will try to access my MikroTik from my phone. Okay, let's jump to my phone screen. Okay, so right now I'm connected with the Wi-Fi, you can see here, and I'm typing the private IP address, that's 10.0.0.138. As I click go, you can see it's showing me the router OS. But now I'm gonna disconnect my Wi-Fi, so right now I'm connected to another network. Okay, you can see I'm connected with 5G, so I'm gonna paste the address what I got from here, this MikroTik. You can see this one, I copied from here, and I'm putting this on my phone, and let's click on go. So here you can see I'm able to log in with another network. So that's how the DDNS works. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next video, and if you like this video, make sure to press the like button and subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon so you never miss out any interesting video from this channel. Bye.